Hey guys, into the end here. I'm gonna do another draft video. In fact, I actually did another draft video and I realized my mic wasn't on after recording it, so that was a complete waste of time. um, but let's jump right into a draft. I ran out of gold. I have been doing decently well in draft. I have a positive win rate, but I've dropped over 150 ranks. Because every time I win, I get about 2 to 3 ranks, and every time I lose, uh, I lose about 20 to 50 ranks. No joke. I did just lose a game where it dropped me from rank 200 to rank 250. One single loss, which is pretty absurd. But let's not worry about our ranks too much. Once you're in Masters, I don't think it really matters. I think the stranger here is very good. I think the two best cards, in my opinion, is the Stranger and the Dragon's Breath. Dragon Breath is, of course, is lower on the curve. It's a removal spell and it's a single color, which are all very good valid points for why we should take it. But the Stranger is very powerful. A 5 mana 4/4 lifesteal is really good. And Argent Port is a perfectly fine color. You can also splash this. You can either splash the green or the black because it's a single influence requirement. I think I will take the Dragon Breath just because this sort of I wouldn't say lock us into strangers, but it does sort of dictate a little bit that we want to value strangers a little bit more highly, and this keeps us a little bit more open. Although a 5 mana 4/4 lifesteal on its own is perfectly playable even without strangers. But the drawback is sometimes your opponent has strangers and you benefit them just as much. But Dragon Breath is almost always good, and I do like to start my draft with lower cost cards. So let's just go ahead and check the Dragon Breath over the stranger. One final reason for this pick is because I've actually drafted quite a few Strangers deck lately, and I am a little bit bored of the archetype. So that's actually one big reason as well. So it's a personal preference here. Let's just go with the Dragon Breath for now. These two are perfectly fine as well, but I don't think they're as good as Dragon Breath. Wow, would have been a good pick if I picked the Stranger last. You can very easily make 5-color Stranger decks. A 7/7 Overwhelm lifesteal would have been basically unbeatable, but let's not worry about that too much. Because we picked the Dragon's Breath, well, let's not worry too much about what we picked first. Let's just go ahead and pick the best card in the first 3 or 4 or 5 picks. It's too early to read signals anyway. One thing that I do read from this, though, is that the black card got taken, and it was a black uncommon. I do believe that there is a minimum of 1 card per color, per pack, and the only thing that's missing is black, and it's an uncommon. So someone took a first pick uncommon black. So we have to be a little bit worried about that in case the guy to my right is black, so we want to avoid that and pay attention to that over the next few picks. I actually like the Towering Stranger. 6 mana 7/7 Overwhelm is actually really good, even ignoring the special ability of giving other strangers Overwhelm. And it is blue as well. Blue-red is also a very good archetype. So let's just take a look. I like the Towering Stranger. I like the Tireless Stranger. 3 mana 3/3s are actually very good. I like the Sparring Partner as well. I like the Pummel, and that's pretty much it. I'll take the Stranger if it's nothing else here, but there is plenty of good cards. Journeyman and Armor are third tier, so I would say this is tier 1, and then maybe tier 2, and then tier 3. I think I'm gonna just take the Stranger. This Stranger is just too powerful. Very difficult to beat this. Especially if you have a couple of removal spells, instant speed removal spells or combat tricks to back it up, and you win combat as well. This can win you games. So let's just go for that, which is great because Mortar is another extremely powerful card and easily the best card of this pack by a really long shot, by a really large margin. Nothing comes close to Pop Mortar in this pack, so I'm very happy to pick up another blue-red card. So that actually leans me pretty heavily towards blue-red. 3 picks in. So let's just focus on blue and red cards. This Stranger is very splashable, so I think the pick here is going to be between the Outlands Brute and the Stranger. The Cannon Bearer is very good, but I already have a very good 6-drop, and I don't want to pick up 2 6-drops in 4 picks. That's too high of a curve. I think more of these will come around. Absolutely no consideration for any of these other cards. Cloud Snake Hatchling is good as well. There's a lot of spark cards in these 2 colors, and this is a very good spark enabler, but otherwise quite weak on its own. So I think really it'll be between the Savage Stranger and the Outland Brute. We have a Stranger sub-theme happening here. Splashing black for it doesn't seem like a bad idea, but there are no other black Strangers that we want to splash, even if we do have a sub-black theme. Why don't we just go ahead and stay on color and stay on red? Warp cards are very good. If you can get a critical mass of warp cards, you do get a lot of card advantage over the long run of the game, and you do get to expand and go wide very quickly. So I actually like that. So we'll go ahead and take that. Huh. Crown Watch Gang is still here. This is actually a really good card. I'm not sure if this is a sign that green is open because there was no good green cards in the last few packs. Wow, that's a really late Dragon Breath. So this is telling me that blue is super open. And the Dragon Breath is by far the best card here, so we're just going to go ahead and take that. Reunite. This is actually a good card because I know it sounds absurd, but this is just a 2-mana tutor for any Stranger in your deck. I mean, at the cost of 2 mana. Early game, it might be bad, but like in the mid game, when you have abundance of mana, using 2 to replace it with any Stranger in your deck, it's actually really good. But I think I'm more interested in splashing the Highwind Glider. It's only a single green, and it's a very powerful late game card. And it's not that hard to splash. So I'm actually thinking about getting the Glider over the Reunite. This gives me a very powerful late game. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that and look for the splash. Serpent Mount is great. Wow, Zenith Initiation is great. So time seems open. There's no way this card comes this late if time's not open. So we know for a fact that blue is open and time is open. This may not be an indicator that green is open, and this may not be an indicator that red is open. But I think it is likely that red is open as well, because we did get a... Well, that's not true. Outland Brute, I don't think people value quite properly. But the problem is we do have a lot of... We have 2 6-drops, 2 frog drops, and 2 2-drops. We do need things to fill out the curve. Serpent Mount is an aggressive card, and right now we don't have the tools to survive the early game. But with that said, I probably won't take a Stone Shaker over the Serpent Mount. The Serpent Mount's got a much higher upside than a Stone Shaker, right? I think so. Actually, Stone Shaker's not bad when I have a lot of expensive cards. Now let's just go ahead and take the Serpent Mount and hope to get some low curve defense units later on. None of these cards will be played in my deck. I'm certainly not going to play a Journeyman Armor. Reforge might be playable at some point. Nothing else is here. I mean, I'm not going to play a 7-mana chart. Like, this is too expensive. Like, the Towering Stranger is like 2 or 3 times better than this card at 1 mana less. I'll take this removal card with the expectation that I won't use it. Oh, this is perfect. A 3-mana 2/3 is perfectly playable. Wow, Strength of Many is very good. If we splash green, I think I'm way happier using a Strength of Many in my deck than this pointless 6-mana 3/6. So I think things are looking pretty good. Oh, it's also red, so red seems open. Ooh. I don't know if I can cast this card ever in a draft. If I play 17 lands, this is like 55% of my lands to play this card, and triple blue as well. But it is very powerful. If I don't pick this, what would I pick? There's actually no other blue card in this pack, and the red cards are mediocre. The green card's great, but I don't want to keep picking up green cards because it is a splash. You know, we're going to go ahead and take this. We are going to play it. We're going to try and play it anyway. Whoa! Okay, well, I think Wild Cloudskid is very good because you do want a bunch of flyers and it can get very big and very scary, but this card is unbeatable. I mean, you play this on any unit and you can trade with any of your opponent's units forever. As soon as you draw this card, every single one of your useless creatures is now good. Yeah, you can't pass up this card. Well, I mean, we have too many 4-drops, but we can easily cut one of the other 4-drops. What? What is this, the mono bomb dot deck? I'm a little bit worried about my curve. We really need to survive the early game. The Morningstar is excellent. If the Steelbound Dragon was not there, I would take the Morningstar over the Cobalt Acolyte, but I guess you just slammed the Steelbound Dragon, right? Jeez, this deck is just full of bombs. Unfortunately, no early game plays, and I don't really... Like, this deck isn't the kind of deck that needs an Nordic Katana. Like, no, I'm not trying to beat down my opponent in the mid game, in the early game. I have unbeatable bombs in the late game, so all I want to do is survive, and there's no cards here that is going to help me with that. I don't want this Herald's Song, I don't think. So I think I'll take the Katana just because it draws me a card. I think here we'll take the Stranger. I just need 2 mana spells. I mean, I just need a way to block. If someone plays a turn 1 Oni Ronin or a turn 2 Thrai Ranger, I would be dead. So this is also a very good defensive unit, but I already have a ton of good 4-drops, so I'm just going to take this Stranger over. Not much. I just want this to block and chump block in the early game. Ooh, Stormcaller is quite good. But I think I just take another Stranger at this point, right? I'm not too afraid of flying units because I have a Mortar already, and I have a bunch of flying units of my own. In fact, I have a lot of flying units, and 2 Dragon's Breath. So I think I'm not going to need this. The problem with the Stormcaller is a 4-drop, and I don't think I mean, this is a 7-drop, so I'm not going to take that. Fell Stranger... Just like the Stone Scar Stranger, half of the colors is correct, so it is a little bit of fixing. The Stormcaller has a higher upside though. It's very, very good at triggering Spark. If we pick up Spark units in the next pack, this card will be quite good. So let's just go ahead and take the Stormcaller with the hopes that we'll pick up... No, you know what? No. Let's not get greedy. My late game is basically unbeatable. When I get to 6 mana, like, these cards are basically unbeatable. So let's not get cute with gimmicky interact. Not gimmicky. Let's not get cute with interactions like Spark. When all I need to do is not die. So let's just grab the Stranger. Here, Fevered Scout seems pretty poor. I'm not a very spell heavy deck, but Dragon's Breath on the Fevered Scout is actually not bad. It does 4 damage. So there's between the Fevered Scout and the Herald's Song. I'm tempted to pick up at least one of these to help me cycle through my deck a little bit faster to get to my bombs. So I think... And the Fevered Scout really isn't great in my deck. I have Mortar, and I have 3 spells. Like, that's not great. Let's just take the Song for a little bit of fixing. Serpent Trainer is another 4-drop. The problem, I mean, Serpent Trainer is very good. It's a very good aggressive card. The problem I have right now is I don't want to be aggressive. I just need to not die. The Quartermaster might actually be okay. I have an Ornate Katana, and I have a Steelfang Chakram that comes back. So every time I put it on a unit, and it dies, and it comes back, I cast it again, I will get to draw another card. So and 3 mana 2/2 can block 1 turn faster than 4 mana 2/2. So I am just gonna go ahead and take the Quartermaster for no other reason than the fact that it's cheaper to play. And I'll pick up this Granite Acolyte because it trades very well and it chump blocks. It blocks very well. A 4/1 for 3 will block pretty much anything by turn 3 or 4. So let's just go ahead and take that. This is perfect. 2 mana 3/1 is a very good blocker. 2 mana 2/2. Okay, so now we're doing all right with the 2-drops. We actually might start to think about using some 5 drops because my curve is looking pretty decent. 1, 2, 3. Actually, 3 2-drops? No, that's not enough. Let's just get another 2 mana unit. Wow. Oh wow. Like, how many bombs can I? How many bombs can you get in one draft, right? Um, I mean, I'll just take it. Ice Bowl is very good, but nothing here beats the Groundbreaker. Um, so the Delicious Bandit is better for an aggressive deck, and the Watcher is much better for a defensive deck, which we are. We could also potentially splash Talon, but I don't think we need it. I think we're actually. Oh no! Never mind. I should have seen the Skycrag banner first. Obviously, this is the pick. None of these cards are fantastic. They're playable. They're always going to be mediocre. But this is exactly what we need. This is fantastic. We'll get the Skycrag banner. Too expensive. Can't splash time. Otherwise, it would be nice to have a Purify. The Horu banner is going to help us splash the Strength of Many, and it's going to help us splash the Highwind Glider. That is probably better than an Argent. I mean, clearly better than both these red cards and that blue card. So we're gonna go ahead and slam this banner. Color fixing is very important. Great. That we're not gonna play. Color fixing is very important. So we are very happy to pick up fixing in a pack that doesn't have much else for us. Clan Hero is perfect. If I can spark it, a 5/3 on turn 3 can trade with pretty much anything my opponent can play. Once again, I'm not trying to kill my opponent. I'm just trying to not die. I like this twin barrel quite a bit. Especially because I have so many bombs. You put that on a bomb and you basically win the turn after. Granite Ring is a lot better for decks that tries to go wide and is very aggressive, which my deck is not. So I don't imagine that I would want to spend time pumping mana into this thing to attack with my early game units. And once I have my late game units, I don't imagine I need a Granite Ring to beat my opponent. And I'm not gonna need this activation for like the dragons or the strangers. So no consideration for that there. I think really the pick is going to be between this splashed bring down, which is very powerful, or this twin barrel. I mean, I do have an on in Quartermaster, which makes the twin barrel better. What's not good about the twin barrel though is a lot of these creatures aren't on its own very strong, and I don't have any evasive threats to put this onto. I can only put this onto one of my late game units. And I guess you can make the argument that if I'm playing a Steelbound Dragon, I don't really need the Twin Barrel to win. It's more of a win more. And early game, there's nothing I can really put it onto that will survive combat. I need like a Audacious Bandit for this to work well, or flying units, which I have none of. So you know what? I'm off of this Twin Barrel. I think it's maybe now between Bring Down and the Cloudskate Hatchling. This Hatchling is pretty good at triggering the Clan Hero here. And it's actually a pretty good carrier for the Granite Acolyte's weapon, and it also triggers Spark on this Jawbone Hatchet and the Groundbreaker. So ever since I picked up a couple of these good Spark things, like for example, not good, but like not couple, but just the one, and I feel like this Cloud Snake Hatchling has gone up in stock. But Bring Down is very good though. I have 2 Dragon's Breath and I have 1 Mortar for removal so far, and that's 3 removal spells. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and splash the Bring Down. I don't want this, and I don't want any of the red cards. I don't really care about this particular stranger. It does help me splash, but my 2-drop is actually looking pretty good right now. I might just take the Snow Crush Yeti. It's a good blocker. Although that's all it is. It's pretty crappy other than that. I mean, I don't really want to. This is not an aggressive deck. Having a 1 mana 2/1 aggressive card like this doesn't help me. And picking it just to block doesn't seem fantastic. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and take this stranger, I think. Wow, another Senin initiation. Um, Here I think I'll take the Ridgeline Watcher, I guess. Mm, Once again, I don't have anything flying to put the anything evasive to put the Smith Hammer on, and if I put it onto any of my units that are like 3 1s and 2 2s and 5 3s, my opponent will just block it with 1 unit and trade for 2 of my cards. I'll get some damage in, but I'm not an aggressive deck, so getting that damage in isn't meaningful for me. So let's just go ahead and take this defensive 3 3 with Aegis. Oh, this is alright. Actually, no, it's not alright. We have definitely no flying units. Let's just take Caleb's choice. Who knows? It might be useful. I'm actually not a huge fan of main decking cards like this, and of course, there's only one game, so there's also no opportunity to sideboard this in either. But I'll just take it. I don't think I'm gonna main. I don't actually don't think I'm gonna play Caleb's choice though. All right, let's take another Ridgeline Watcher. We'll take the Swift Stranger with the expectation that we won't play it. Another one. Okay. So red and blue are certainly open. I think we're just pretty unlucky, and there are just not a lot of very good red and blue cards in those packs. We did correctly identify that red and blue is open from the first pack. Now we have an abundance of good blue cards. One, maybe not good, playable blue cards. We're certainly not going to take the Warhound. We're not going to take a Song. I think these 3 cards here are in consideration. I think Static Bolt is fine, but I have enough removal spells, I think, that does a couple of damage here and there. If anything, I want like Permafrost. I want something that can get rid of a really large unit, and Static Bolt cannot. Flash Freeze is actually very good. And I'm tempted to take the Flash Freeze over this nice Snapper. I find this card pretty tricky to use. Very often you just run into one of your opponent's flying 1/1s, and often you end up playing it just to trade with an attacker. Not too many games where I'm like winning the game off of the Skyscraper, you know. Although in this deck I have quite a few ways to buff it, and then an evasive thread will help with Spark. But I really like Flash Freeze. Flash Freeze is a deceivingly powerful card, especially because I have very large threats here on the high end. And when you attack with a 7/7 and they triple block it with a bunch of 4/4s and 3/3s, you stun one of them, it takes them out of combat. It completely blows out the opponent. And sometimes it also allows you to squeeze in for a Hail Mary kind of Alpha Strike if your opponent attacks you with too many units and doesn't expect this. You know, they hold back 2 units for block, for example, and you Flash Freeze and you win the game. The drawback is, if you don't have a board presence, this card is useless. How likely am I to have a board presence in this deck? I also have no card drawing spells, so this is a card disadvantage. It does something, but then it's not, the thing that it does is not permanent, and it doesn't impact the board state permanently going forward. Let's just take this nice Sky Snapper here. That was a tough choice. It was kind of a 50-50. I'm splashing green. I don't imagine I can splash a double green card, even though I have a Huru Banner. Yeah, I have a Huru Banner. I'm definitely not going to splash a double green card. That's too bad. And I didn't even pick up a Stranger that... Oh no, hey, I have an Argenport Stranger as well. But no, that's too greedy. It's not going to happen. Blind Storyteller for this deck? No, I don't have any ways to take advantage of it, and it doesn't help me defensively on board. I don't imagine I'll have a lot of time to just blow mana and cycle through my deck with this. So I think it might be the Combrei Stranger. It will help me splash green a little bit. Just because none of these other cards are relevant. There's no red cards, and this blue card is not something I want. So I might as well just take this Stranger. It'll give me... I'm not going to play all of the Strangers that I have. I'm just going to end up maybe playing 2 of them. Or I can take the Silverwing Commander and just hope I get more fixing. No, that's a bad plan. Let's get the Stranger. Oh my... That is almost good enough to switch out of a color for. That card's almost unbeatable. Like it's actually, oh man, if I picked the double green 5 mana 4/4 last turn, I forgot his name, and I picked this, I could maybe even just straight up move out of one of the colors. You know what? I should have thought about that because I could potentially just move out of blue. Like, I can splash blue, and because honestly, the 10 mana Scourge of Frostholm is much more difficult to play, and it's not. And I'm not even sure that this card is better than this plus the last green card. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. Well, I can take the Honor Guard or I can take the Morning Star. Both, I mean, the Morning Star is very, very good, but the Honor Guard is basically unbeatable. Oh, jeez. And I just picked up a Combray Stranger, which helps me. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take the Honor Guard. I don't know how I'm gonna make the mana base work. It may not work, but screw it. We'll figure that out later. At this point, do I just go ahead and take up a Longhorn Sergeant? Just because it's like, if I'm gonna switch out of red, I'm blue, then I might as well just pick up a red-green card, right? Alternatively, I take a 2 mana 1/3 flyer. That's uninspiring. No, let's just... Jeez. Maybe I should really think about what colors... Okay, so what happens if I take out blue? I certainly don't need this ring. I don't even need to play the clan hero. I don't need to play this alpha. Sky Sniper is mediocre. Definitely don't need these. Yeah, you know? I still have enough playables if I play green instead. Like, Dragon Breath is a 2-drop, but it's certainly not a card I play on turn 2. This is a splash card that I'm not playing on turn 2. I'm not playing this on turn 2. I actually have no early blue plays. Even if I play blue, these are like 4, 5, 6 drops here, 3 drops. I might be able to play red-green and just splash the blue. Like, I know this is a legendary and all, but this is really expensive, and I would imagine most of the games that I play, I would never reach the mana to play this. That's actually a really good argument for playing green instead. Huh. Well, let's do it. I really, really regret not picking up the 5 mana 4/4 Warcry 2. Just imagine how much better our deck would have been had we picked that up. Oh dear. Do we want this 5 mana 4/4? Yeah, we do. Another Quartermaster? No, but we take the Sharpshooter over the Quartermaster for sure. Privilege of Ranks? That certainly helps us. Privilege of Ranks works really well with Herald's Song. It's a lot of card advantage. And also, really helps me dig the green that I need. I mean, if it's not that, it'll be the Javelin, which is actually pretty good. And it will work with the Reforge very well, but, you know, I'm just gonna go for the Privilege of Ranks. Certainly not taking Grenadine. I guess I'll take this 1/3 flyer with the expectation that I'm not gonna run it. I'll grab the drone. Red and blue is still open. I'm actually just gonna grab this 5/3 Overwhelm unit over the 2 mana 1/4, which is very good. Actually, now I'm not sure anymore. Jeez. Although this is not a very risky pick. Chances are I'm not gonna play with either of these cards, so it doesn't really matter. Let's take the 5-drop here. Got another copy. All right, our deck is a little bit of a mess. We have a lot of bombs. We know we're red, but we don't know what our second color is. We're gonna be 3 colors no matter what. I just don't know which one is gonna be the splash. And I think this is something that I will have to spend a bit time on. So I'm going to end the video here. In the beginning of the gameplay videos, I will go through the deck and I'll explain some of the choices I made and go through my rationale. But for now, I will end the video. Thank you very much for watching.